Time for a very short video. I just want to catch you up about a few topics that aren't covered in some of your other materials and sort of synthesize some thoughts about the music industry, an industry that has experienced a lot of disruption and change. Today, the word label, as in a music label, might be synonymous with a company, as in, I just signed with a new label. But the label actually is a term that goes back to when you were recording music and you needed it to be somehow scratched into a piece of wax or vinyl so it could be distributed, you needed a company to do that, and they would put their label with their name on it. And so that's where labels originated. There used to be a lot of them. In the 1960s, there were hundreds of different music labels, but by the year 2000, we had had so many buyouts and companies going out of business that were really just four major labels left. And by 2023, we got down to just three of them. There are three major music companies or labels that now control 65% of music, which is a really big amount given how much independent music is out there. I mentioned in my introduction slide that the music industry has experienced change. The biggest change probably happened between 1999 and 2010, when what was a $15 billion industry collapsed to a $6.3 billion industry in just 10 years. What was behind it? A couple of factors that all came in at the same time. One was digitization, and you've heard about this in your modules. The ability, instead of having an analog way of recording things on magnetic tape or on a vinyl record, when we could encode it into a compact disc or even more so an MP3, and file sharing that came along with that, the ability to share digital files without having to share physical media. Portability of devices also had something to do with it. People being able to have portable devices. That's a Walkman, but it was really the iPod that transformed the music industry and generated a lot of file sharing. Instead of having a collection of 50 records, you could have 50,000 songs now, and you could put them all on one iPod. Also, there wasn't any regulation at first, so there were companies like Friendster and Napster, which allowed inexpensive or free file sharing, and it was really easy to get music for free, so people just stopped paying for it. This chart really shows the dramatic change that happened in the music industry between 2001 and 2020. You can see the green is the traditional way that music companies made money by selling physical albums or compact discs or even cassette tapes, and how that really went down. Although there is a slight uptick and vinyl is back a little bit, right? But we really saw a decline. And then you started to see downloads and people downloading and owning content. And everybody thought for a while that that's how it would work. You would pay and then you would own the MP4 that you could download. But that actually didn't stick because a new model came in that had even more revenue possibilities, and that was streaming. And so when Spotify launched first in Europe and then in the United States, and Apple followed short after in 2015, people started basically renting music instead of owning it and controlling it after you own it and being able to listen to it perpetually. Now people are subscribing to music, but if they stop paying the subscription, they lose access. So consumers no longer have the access, but you can see what the profits look like. The money has not only made its way back up to that $14.5 billion, it's exceeded that, and it's going up more and more. But who's getting that money? Well, who's making money today is a little bit different than it has been in the past. Streaming platforms like Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon, and so on are making the money, and they're getting that money from 255 million people who are currently paying for subscription-based stream music. There is some sales happening, modest growth in vinyl, but really it's just a tiny fraction of what's happening. There is additional revenue for things like licensing music and esports or gaming, and that community is licensing and paying artists and the companies that record it quite a lot of money. It's $1 billion now. Also licensing of songs to be played on TV shows and in films make up a reasonable chunk of income as well. YouTube ad revenue is now over $1 billion. People do stream and listen to a lot of content, music content on YouTube. My daughter likes to listen to music on YouTube and she watches a lot of those ads. Or you can pay extra money to YouTube to not see the ads. And all in all, it means now that artists are seeing just about 12% of total revenue for those that are part of this larger independent or this larger music scene and are not independent artists. Social media has had a growing impact and will continue to be a significant factor in the music industry. Musical.ly is how TikTok actually began. It was a music platform in which people could sing along to songs or lip sync to songs, and that evolved into TikTok. And today, TikTok is a major influence. It's an engaging marketing tool when you have social media because people can remix, harmonize, sing along, comment, and that creates a lot of new content. Plus, artists will release parts of their songs that can become used for different kinds of trends on social media. And that's helped music artists launch songs, including major artists. Meghan Trainor's career was diminishing, and then she started using TikTok to release chunks of her songs that became trends, and she's seen a resurgence in her career recently. It's also helpful for emerging artists, for people who want to be found and seen. Social media is a place. It's not always easy to go viral, but some artists have found a way to do it. TikTok has even created a special platform called Elevate recently in 2023 to help amplify emerging artists that they identify and use the platform to try and share their music and help make them popular. Also, platforms get to make money off of these artists, and so they can run ads. It's really hard to run ads with music in other places. Music has primarily been supported by people paying for it, either by buying an album or a cassette or paying for a subscription to it. But ads are a little trickier. People get irritated when there's a lot of ads. But on social media, because people are flipping through, it's a little bit easier to pop those ads in as part of your overall media diet. And so it's an additional way to monetize. If all of this sounds kind of grim, especially for any of you who are out there and want to be artists and think, my gosh, are all these people going to be making money off of me? I do want to share one other concept that you'll read about and watch a video about in this module. That's the idea of 1,000 true fans. This is an idea from Kevin Kelly, who shared a model by which he thinks independent artists can have a healthy career if they cut out the music industry and sell directly to their fans. So watch that video and reflect on that, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the module.